Hello, my fellow Ripplers. This is Chris Miles, your cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. Welcome to our show. It's for you and about you. Those who work so hard for your money, and you want your money to start working harder for you right now. You want that freedom, cash flow, and prosperity today, not 30 or 40 years from now, but right now to live that life that you love with those you love, doing what you love. And most importantly, guys, because as you're blessed financially, you can create a ripple effect and a legacy through the life of others. And that is what we're here to do today. Thank you for allowing me to create that ripple effect for you. As a reminder, go check out our website, moneyripples.com, especially if you're saying, I've got at least a couple $100,000 of cash. What do we do with it? How do we invest it? How do I get my money working for me? So I have to keep working so hard for my money. Reach out to us on the contact us page there. Check that out.
Chris Miles was able to retire twice by the time he was 39 years old. But he's not content to just enjoy his own financial freedom and peace of mind. Chris wants you to have your own ripple effect so you can live free today. He's not the financial advisor you expected. He's the anti-financial advisor you deserve. He's jumping behind the mic right now, ready to make waves. Here's Chris Miles.
So today, guys, I was actually planning to go into this whole, mindset about, some of the things I'm talking about as a financial advisor and the progress, the mindset and the evolution that I had to go through the last 20 years. But you know what? I felt impressed to share something else with you, something that I feel is vital, right? And vital for any of you, no matter what you're dealing with in life, right? Whether you're being tested with patience with your business, whether being tested with patience with your financial freedom, with your family, with your health, whatever you're going through, right? All of us have struggles. All of us have challenges that we go through. And the key to prosperity, beyond just the money, in fact, it's part of the money equation. You got to have this to work with the money equation, is you have to foster that abundance mindset. There has to be that mindset of hope, of faith, a mindset that you keep moving forward regardless of the obstacles that come in your way. It's interesting because just the other day, my wife brought up a video. So some of you guys might have followed Mr. Beast. If you've seen him, if you haven't subscribed, he's got some pretty amazing stuff. Very entertaining, very interesting, even some of the money mindset stuff that do come up in some of those episodes. But there was an interesting thing that he did. He did on October 4th of 2020, he had a video set on timer to be released that he had recorded exactly 5 years prior. So it was the mean 5 years video that Mr. Beast did. And so he said, hey, today's October 4th, 2015, and he's setting the video go public in 5 years, so on October 4th, 2020. So just last year when it came out. Now, if any of you guys know, Mr. Beast is currently over 70 million subscribers, right? But when he did this video in 2015, at the time, he had about 8,300 subscribers on his YouTube channel. Kind of feeling like me a little bit. I'm about almost getting up to the 1,000, subscriber mark on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, Money Ripples with Chris Miles, go check it out. But I just started that YouTube channel here recently with the help of my team, right? But he was really focused on doing that. And he was a senior in high school. He was like, well, I should have graduated by now and hopefully finished college by now. And I hope that I'm a YouTuber as work. I hope, right? So he's thinking, hope. Here's the thing. It's a kicker. He's like, I hope I'll have 1 million. He's like 1 million subscribers. I better freaking have 1 million subscribers by then. Oh, that would be awesome. What would that be like? Right. And it's fascinating because, again, kid in high school, hoping and, just longing to have 1 million subscribers. And at that time, when it got released, he was well over 40 million subscribers by that point. Now currently at 70, going on 71 million subscribers worldwide. Amazing. You kind of see now, obviously that wasn't his first day doing YouTube, right? I mean, he had over 1 million views by that point with, over 8,300, I think it was, subscribers. The point is that everything requires patience, right? Nothing happens overnight. There are no overnight successes. As much as people would like to try to sell that concept to you, the truth is that overnight success is usually never overnight, right? I remember reading a book called 3 Feet from Gold. It's by my friends Greg Reed and Sharon Lechter. Sharon Lechter, you might have known from co-writing Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book, a lot of times they share real stories of people and they say, it only took me 10 years to become an overnight success, right? Which I would laugh at. And remember, when I was reading this book, I was actually going through a big low at that time. I was actually working with another company. We were almost bankrupt, right? This is right before things turned around in our company, but I was really struggling. This was about the summer of 2009. I remember hearing that, thinking, you know what? Things can turn around. Even though we're gone through the recession, things are hard. Things can really turn around. So, things did. Here's what's interesting is that now, almost exactly to the day that you're watching this, if you're watching this, right when it came out, the day that this has been released, I actually 9 years ago launched Money Ripples. Now it's fascinating because I helped build up that company. We got through the recession and we started to boom, and things kind of taper off a little bit. And there were some disagreements between me and the owner. I used to work with a guy. It used to be the company called Freedom Fast Track. Now it's called Wealth Factory. So if you've ever watched some of their YouTube videos, like Garrett Gunderson, that was somebody I worked with. In fact, I coached all of his clients. So all the people that went through their financial architect process, that was me, right? That was going through and teaching these people this stuff. And so awesome time there. I really enjoyed it. In fact, my plan was to take over that company because I figured, hey, if anybody's going to outlast this, if anybody's going to make it last longer, it's me. I'm going to make it work, right? So that was my thinking at the time. However, that all changed, right? Because one day in October 2012, I finally got a meeting. I actually called the meeting. I said, hey, we need to talk. We need to clear the air. There's been some misunderstandings. Let's move forward, right? And I remember in that meeting, sitting with Garrett, he's like, I just don't know how we're going to make this work. I said, you know what? If I just settle, and I kept saying the word settle. I'm like, no, I didn't mean settle. Sorry. I mean, because I wanted to go out and speak. I wanted to do more than just coach his people on the back end. I wanted to get out there. In fact, I actually wanted to come in and be a marketing source for him too. So in fact, I just a few weeks prior spoke at another event in hopes to drum up some business to help him out. So he wasn't doing it by himself. He's just like, no, I don't see that working. Nope. And then finally, after a little bit, I said, Garrett, are you breaking up with me? Like, what's going on here? And that time, the guy he had hired as a CEO or COO came in and slid an envelope as a tear dropped from his face onto the table, slid an envelope to me. I'm like, what is this? And he said, well, this is your termination agreement. And there's a nice little, bonus check, which by the way, the bonus check was pitiful. It was horrible. I was appreciative at the time. But when I opened it, I said, whoa, guys, I made you millions and I got $1,000. Come on. But I was like, anyways, at least it's the thought that counts. Right. And so anyways, they slid over and said, yeah, we're done as of right now. And I bawled my eyes out, I mean, uncontrollably sobbing to the point it took probably 5 minutes to get my composure. Anybody who knows me, I'm not the most excited guy. I'm not the most, depressed guy or whatever. I don't get emotional really. That was emotional because I put my heart and soul into that company and that it felt like it was falling apart. And so anyways, got my composure, we decided, what are we going to do? I said, well, I've already just, I actually just created the name Money Ripples just a week or two prior while I was on a run. Like the Money Ripples name came to my mind, bought the website because I was like, I think I want this website just in case. Well, that just in case was a good forethought because now I'm like, well, it's going to be Money Ripples. And they said, what are you going to do? I said, well, obviously I have this new, I know tier non-compete's not, really enforceable in the state of Utah. It's a right to work state. However, I'm going to respect it. I'm going to stay away from your contacts. I'm going to just build up a business from scratch, focusing on women entrepreneurs. That's kind of the industry I started in. So I started doing that. And they said, great, see ya. I remember driving home, wondering, what am I going to tell my wife, now ex-wife, wife at that time? I'm like, what am I going to tell her? What's going to happen? I remember I pulled into a parking lot, sat in front of a church and just prayed. And I prayed and I was like, what am I going to do? What direction should I take? What's going to happen here? Right. And so anyways, long story short, the impression I got, the spirit came through me as I was praying was, listen, like this is a key moment in your life, a pivotal moment, a life, this is where you're making a big choice. This choice is going to make a massive effect. In fact, it's going to create a ripple effect, right? So be patient, hang in there. And so I said, all right, let's do this. Went home, had to tell my wife, hey, I basically got fired. Yay. Okay. So how was your day, honey? Kids are great. Good. I got fired. I hope your life isn't any more uncertain now. Here we go. That's pretty much where I was, right? And so I just said, all right, we're starting from scratch. And she was actually pretty excited. She was excited for me to do my own thing, which was great. And so I did. And a few days later, I announced, hey, I'm launching Money Ripples. Thank you for the years I had at Freedom Fast Track, now Wealth Factory. Grateful for that time. There's my new business now. And so, I did that. I started to get some clients. Now it was just really low entry. I was charging like $1,000 just to take on a client. It was just the cash flow stuff, just the ways that could stop money leaks and, things like that. I wasn't even talking about passive income back then, just purely freeing up cash flow. By the way, the results I'd already gotten with Freedom Fast Track, we tracked over 600 clients, and out of 600, the average person freed up 34,000 a year, right? I mean, that was fantastic. Again, no passive income, just from maybe some money made more in the business side, but most of it was just freeing up cash, saving money on taxes, finding creative ways to consolidate or pay off debt, things like that. And so I already had that experience behind me. Now I was just trying to take it into a new company, new market, new industry, trying not to step on anybody's toes, dealing with major issues with insecurities I had. Just so you know, the first year when I started to really get out and speak, I started taking people out to lunches that were in that women entrepreneur space, just to get to know people. And gradually, after a few months, I started getting like my first speaking engagement. There was a few more people that started bringing me on for trainings. Very slow start. Just so you know, from October till about March, I only made maybe $10,000, right? I mean, almost a half a year, only made like $10,000. I was burning through whatever little savings I had, even though we just started to recover from the recession, right? And you guys know I've had a bounce back from that $1 million debt hole. I was currently still paying off some of that. So I was trying to get through all of that. I was starting to charge up the little credit card I had, because the only credit card I could get was one that was a Capital One Spark Visa, right? And so they would only give me a $1,500 limit. So, I mean, I maxed that up, that $1,500 limit, did some exchanges to build a website. I mean, I was doing all kinds of things just to really, what's the word for it? I mean, just bootstrap the business with just very little funds, right? Finally in March, things started to pick up. And even by the end of that year, 2013, I made like almost $130,000, right? So I hit six figures in that first year. Very happy about that. Very pleased, despite the fact that I was starting from scratch, right? It was so much work, so much patience. Even when I go speak, when I do these speaking engagements, one crazy thing that happened to me is that I would start coughing before and after speaking, because I was so nervous about having the spotlight on me. Because remember, I wanted that spotlight to some degree, right? I was coaching and I wanted to get out speaking more, but now I felt like it was all on me because I was Money Ripples. And so I remember, like, right before I get up on stage, I'd be coughing like crazy. Like there's this tickle I couldn't get rid of. This is pre-COVID. It was not COVID. Just started coughing like crazy. And then after, I'd cough like crazy. I realized later that cough was because I lacked so much confidence in myself that I was, I would get up there on stage and just try to do my thing, perform, and everybody be like, yay, that was great. But in truth, inside, I was just struggling so badly that I was rejecting myself. I felt like I was having to prove and to put on this whole, song and dance thing, for people just to get them to like me. I was trying to make people like me instead of, now today, half the time I just don't give a crap. In fact, I use the word crap because I don't give a crap. If somebody says, hey, you shouldn't use that word, I just used it twice or three times, however many times I've used it, right? That's the thing, guys, is that, that's what my beginnings were. And even going through a divorce in 2015, right when I was starting to get things going, and then that momentum gets shut down, but then building it back up and doing it where I was only working part-time, focusing more on passive income for myself, and then teaching others to create passive income too. And so the evolution of Money Ripples went from not just freeing up cash flow, stopping money leaks, but even to the point of creating passive income to create financial freedom so that you work because you want to, not because you have to. And I'll tell you, the revenue, it started out like this, slowly increasing. It was like a 3% increase each year. Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 like 50, 100% plus increases year to year after that, to the point where I've more than 10x'd the business from those humble early days. That guys, that is what Jim Collins would refer to as the flywheel concept, right? We have a big wheel, it takes a lot of work and effort to get it moving. But once you get it moving, just like a bicycle, right? Things start really working and working and working. And then pretty soon you get that momentum going and you're accomplishing things that are so much easier. Even look at this show. This show, when it started out, it took me 4.5 years to get the first 100,000 downloads on the show. And now we're still on that path, that journey. But even now, it only took us a couple months to hit 100,000 downloads. 4.5 years to get that first 100,000. And then now 100,000 in a couple months. Eventually, I guarantee this thing's going to be over 100,000 in a week. Wouldn't that be cool? And that's where it kind of feels like, Mr. Beast, where he says, hey, me in 5 years, I'm excited to see what happens for the next 9 years with Money Ripples. Because now it's not just me. I've got a team working with me. I got other people coaching. Since then, we've had several hundred clients that have come through. We worked with one-on-one, and they're getting fantastic results. Some of them you've even heard on this podcast, right? Or will hear more stories of this on the podcast, because our vision is by 2030, 9 years from now, by 2030, we'll have 1,000 financially independent people. Wouldn't it be cool if it was more than 1,000? What if that, it's like Mr. Beast trying to hit 1 million. What if it wasn't 1,000? What if it instead was 40 times that, just like he ended up seeing? What if it was 40,000 people financially independent? What if it was 40,000 of you right now? Those of you listening in 2021, maybe 2022, whatever it is you're watching or listening to this, what if you are one of those people in 2030? Now, here's the thing, is that this concept of patience and work and effort to build that momentum applies to everything. This applies, I know, some of my marathon running. As a marathoner, I was overweight. I had a hard time running between about 4 and 5 hours on a marathon. And even then, in one case, it took me 2 months to recover from that marathon because my body was so beat up. My body was so inflamed, so unhealthy. At 35 years old, you think this guy would be okay compared to 44 now. And now I'm running marathons, qualifying for Boston, almost qualified for New York. So close. I didn't quite make it. If I were 45 years old, 1 year older, I would have made it. Next year, we'll get it next year. But either way, again, that took momentum and time, doing the right things and consistently applying that effort over and over, not giving up. Even with you guys and many of my clients, the biggest thing I have to get them to is maybe they get that first little upfront cash flow coming, right? Because they get that money deployed. But now the money's been deployed. Now they got to wait to build that cash to, invest it again, redeploy it again, right? And build some more cash flow. So for some of my clients, I say, you know what, honestly, once we get this first place, maybe it's extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month that you create in passive income, you're going to have to be a little patient. It's going to be like watching grass grow, because just like when one client I was speaking with today, I said, hey, 3,000 a month is nothing to sneeze at. That's incredible. That's 36,000 a year. And then the next year you got that 36,000, you invest it. Maybe that creates another $300 a month or $400 a month. Cool. Now that's maybe 4,000 or so a year. That's nothing to be ashamed about, because now that 3,000 a month now is like 3,400 a month. Well, save that again. That's 40 grand a year. Put that away. Maybe you're making now another 4 grand more a year, and now you're at 44 grand. But then there's other things that happen, as you're building cash, that it can accelerate it. And his goal is get to 6,000 a month. I told him, it's like, in 5 years, your goal is in 5 years, by the time you're 55, hit 6,000 a month, you're going to do it at the rate you're going. And again, the consistency and never giving up, the rate you're going, you're going to hit it. Guys, that is the kind of thing that leads to success. Just like in that book, in the book, 3 Feet from Gold, right? Where they said it, some of the stories said it took me 10 years to become an overnight success. Don't get stuck on the 10-year thing, right? Don't think that has to be ingrained in your mind. I'm not planting that seed. Get that seed out of your mind. The point is that overnight success is never overnight. It does take time and effort and a lot of patience and persistence. I promise you, though, is you take action, consistent, persistent action. As you do that, results will happen. I'm living proof of it. I'm excited to see where the next 9 years of Money Ripples go and beyond, right? I'll be 53 years old. I'll be in my 50s. This hair, I thought this was pretty dang gray. Unless I'm dyeing my hair, which I hope I never do, you're probably going to see a pretty white head by that point. But I hope that in 9 years, you and I, all of us will be celebrating, and many of you will be celebrating the financial freedom that you've created and the ripple effect you're creating in the lives of others. That is my vision, and that's the direction I'm going. I want you guys on board with it as well. That requires you to be patient, persistent, always taking action, but taking the right action and making sure that you have the right path to get there. Guys, I hope you make it a wonderful and prosperous week and the next 9 years till 2030. We'll talk to you later.
Visit us online at moneyripples.com for more resources to help you fix money leaks and get your money working harder for you now.